All right, welcome back to the $68 speaker shootout. This is part 2 with the MouKey M20-3s. They're known on Amazon as the MouKey 3-way bookshelf passive speakers, 110 watts, something like that. But the model number is MS20-3. On Amazon, they do give you some information about these. They have a 5-inch bass driver down here, the 2-inch mid-range driver right here, and the 1-inch tweeter up here. So I do have a problem with the Amazon page. On the speaker, on the image that you can see on Amazon, the mid-range driver does not look like this. It looks closer to the woofer with the little hemisphere in the middle. It's on Amazon, it is not a convex speaker like that. So I'm not sure if that was an older version of this speaker, but the speaker no longer has that as far as I can tell. These are front ported. You can see the port there. It's a pretty small port. If you pick up the speaker by the port, it creaks a little bit, which is unfortunate. It's not a very big port, and it's more annoying than anything, really. Let me not start down talking these speakers just yet. Let's get through the specs first. So it's a 6.61 inch width, 10.6 inch height, 7.72 inch depth. So it's kind of a smaller speaker, especially for a 5-inch driver. Frequency response on Amazon is listed as 60 hertz to 15,000 hertz. So not really the best response range, but probably accurate. I didn't do a frequency response test on these speakers. I just kind of forgot. Didn't really have these hooked up for too long because I didn't really like them. Crossover at 1,000 hertz, which is okay, I guess, especially since that's the mid-range driver. So that mid-range driver is probably where it's crossed over at, and this probably also does high frequencies. They probably don't have a separate crossover for the tweeter as well. So it's likely that the mid-range and the tweeter are both doing over 1,000 hertz, which is good for the mid-range, not so good for the tweeter. But good for this bass driver. Not really pushing all too much, just 60 to 1,000. At least that's what it would be capable of if the crossover is correct and the frequency response is correct. They are listed as 110 watt speakers on Amazon, but if you read the packaging materials, if you read the instructions, max power is 55 watts per speaker. So there's no RMS rating. It's just 55 per speaker. So what it means by 110 watts is 55 per speaker max, which is kind of low. No RMS again, but I think they said the power range in the manual was 20 to 55 watts. So even with a lower powered receiver, you're probably going to be all right with these speakers. I wouldn't put them on anything too powerful. Speaking of the manual, insanely bad translations in there. Oh my God. Putting it through Google Translate to English and then from English back to a different language, then back to English. Terrible translations. I was going to bring the manual out to read some excerpts from it because I thought it was pretty funny, but I forgot to take it out, and I'm not starting this video over. They recommend these to be 39 inches from the back wall, even though they're front ported. You could probably put these up against the wall, and they do have a keyhole slot on the back to mount them on the wall, so I don't know why they want you to have these 39 inches away from the wall. That's 3 feet and 3 inches. That's a meter. That seems a little unnecessary. I had them 9 inches from the back away from the wall, and then again about like 18 inches total away from the wall because I try to put the speakers in the same spots. Sensitivity, 81 decibels. It's kind of rough. That's very, very low sensitivity. Especially on a cheap speaker, you'd probably want a higher sensitivity so it can play a little louder, a little easier. But to get these to the same volume that the Eilish were that I previously reviewed, they took about it was at about the same volume setting on my receiver, but still, probably pushing a little bit more power. Impedance, 4 ohms. So that's a pretty low impedance, but I don't believe it. It doesn't seem like it plays like a 4 ohm speaker, but that's probably due to the low sensitivity. Yeah, 4 ohms. So be careful with your receiver. If it can't accept a 4 ohm speaker, I wouldn't pair these up with them. That's another knock against these things, because for a 4 ohm receiver, it's probably going to be costing a little bit more. And these are cheap speakers. Why would you pair up a cheap speaker with an expensive amp? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, as far as like instructions and specs, 2 pages in the manual. That's all you get. 2 pages, nothing else. So you don't get a lot of details in these speakers. There's not a lot of documentation for them. The manual seems kind of big, but that's because there's probably about 10 different languages, each taking 2 pages. So you don't get much information on these. So let's go over the outside of the speaker. You get a grill with them. The grill is okay. There's no like bracing in the middle. There's no patterns or anything. There's just little cutouts on the sides for the port, tweeter, and mid-range driver. And it looks okay. I'm not a big fan of speaker covers, speaker grills, but if you are, these don't look bad. As you can see here, they got the little MouKey branding, and they just sit flush against the whole thing. Not bad. In terms of the front, you got the tweeter, mid-range, and the woofer and the port. The build quality on these isn't really that great. I don't know how well you can see it, but let's see if I can get the mid-range there. There's like a little bit of vinyl there. It's not properly placed. This is my second set of these. The first set that I got in had something rattling in one of the speakers, as you can see in my previous video. I'll link it. It's probably up there somewhere. So my initial impressions on these were pretty bad because I got a defective product. It looked like the vinyl wrap that's on the outside looked like there's a cutout of it on the inside. Like maybe they just had like a flat sheet of wood for the speaker, and then they cut out a hole for one of the mid-range or the woofer, and then they just left the vinyl in there. It's really cool. Amazon was great about the return process. They got me a new speaker in 2 days, or a new set of speakers in 2 days, and these are a lot better. The other one also had a lot of imperfections on both speakers on the front. They didn't really look new, even though they were listed as new. But these, much better. Build quality is still kind of cheap. Sound kind of hollow. The vinyl wrap isn't really the best. I mentioned the thing on the tweeter. You can see the glue on the surrounds, and there's like some glue strings that hang down here and there. On the bottom, you can see where the vinyl wrap meets with a little seam there. It's kind of ugly, but you're never going to see the bottom speaker, so I guess it doesn't matter that much. Sides look fine. It's an okay looking speaker. It's not really like the best. Back here, you got your little keyhole mounting bracket if you want to hang these up somewhere. And that might be the best case scenario for these. Hang these up in your garage and forget that they exist. And you've got these binding posts that are amazing. I love these. You push it in, you put your speaker wire in, you let go, and you're done. No screwing, no stupidity, hard to mess up. Great. Favorite part of the speaker is those binding posts. They're awesome. I can't complain about that. They hold your wire snug. They're clearly labeled. They don't accept bananas, but you could probably put one of those flats in, just squeeze it on there, or just use bare wire. It works great. It's not going to change how anything sounds. It's just all preference. Let's talk about sound. Overall, the whole package, they sound okay. Again, got these for $68 along with the other speakers in the Shootout on Amazon. New, shipped to my door 2 days. And then I had to return it because it was a bad speaker. So 2 more days and a trip to the UPS later, and $68. So what do you get for $68? You get okay sound. The best way to describe them, they don't really sound full. they don't sound hollow in any way, shape, or form, but they don't sound full, which is kind of sad because you got 3 drivers. You'd think that it would give maybe a bigger sound, and you've got the 5-inch woofer. You think that'd give you some pretty good bass response, but as you can see from the Amazon listing, it only goes down to 60 hertz. Again, I didn't test. Oh my god, I'm talking to the wrong part of the mic. I didn't test it. I didn't feel like it because I don't really like these speakers that much. Especially because I listened to the ones that Amazon originally sent me, and they sounded really bad. I didn't like them at all. And so I was pretty upset. So I set up the Eilish, and the Eilish sounded amazing. I love them. And then I set these up today. I set these up today, and I just not impressed at all. Yeah, they're $68 or so, those Eilish. And these actually are MSRP at $100, which I don't believe they're worth $100. Those Eilish are on sale for $68. The Sony SSCS 5s are commonly on sale for $88 or less, and those are way, way, way better than these. I would not recommend these over any other speaker. I haven't had a chance to listen to the MouKey M20-1s that are also in the Shootout yet, because I should have hooked them up on Monday, but I didn't when I got them in. And those also have an issue. Again, you can see the video that I made where there's that little thing rattling around. I thought it was just glue, but it is probably some solder from the tweeter on the speaker, because it distorts. It sounds bad. It buzzes, and it's not fun. But beyond that, they didn't sound bad. They actually kind of sounded better than these, and they were defective. So start with bass. Bass, it's not lacking. It's probably mildly emphasized in the bass. It's all right. The bass isn't bad. You're gonna hear it. You'll feel it a little bit. The thing you'll feel the most is this stupid port. If you sit close, I sit 4 feet away from my speakers in my office. If you're sitting close and you're listening at decently high volumes, this thing's gonna be blowing on you, and I don't necessarily like that. If you enjoy like car AC and you like listening to bassy music, get these. You'll have like a little car AC setup at your desk, even though you're probably gonna get more heat from your amplifier. But these will cool you off on a hot summer's day, just blowing some air onto you from that terrible front port that doesn't really sound very good. It's a very tiny port. And I guess that owes to the frequency response. It's probably tuned somewhere around mid 60s. So it's not good. I don't like that port, especially on the front. It does help with positioning, because you can put these right up against the wall and you're not going to get any like resonance or anything from the port blowing straight against the wall. But they also recommend you put these 3 feet and 3 inches into your room. My office is 9 feet and 10. It's 9 feet by 10 feet. I'm not putting these things 3 feet into my office. Like what kind of room do they expect you to put these in? Like it boggles the mind, because if you're putting them that far in your room, then it's probably like a decently sized room, and these cannot fill up my office. I don't know how they could fill up a larger room that you would actually place them appropriately in. According to the manual, at least, I think that these work just fine if you put them a few inches from the wall, maybe even right up against the wall. These would probably still sound fine. I didn't do it, but you could, and they'd probably sound okay, because they do sound okay. As you start to bring the volume up on these a little bit, they get a little shouty. All of the Lights by Kanye West, if you have it at the same volume that I've been playing every other speaker that I play in my office, Rihanna gets really, really up in your face, and she's just shouting at you, and it's really off-putting. But everything else in the song actually doesn't sound too bad on these. It doesn't really get muddy at all. The bass is actually, it's not, okay, so the bass isn't tight. It's not muddy. It's not accurate. but it sounds all right. Um, cymbals don't have a lot of crash to them. The highs are okay. I mean, the frequency response goes up to 15,000 hertz, and you can kind of feel it. It doesn't get as bright as I'd like it to. They're kind of veiled on the highs. There's some details on the high end of the frequency response that you're just not going to hear. Some things that just don't sound how you would want them, and it's not a great experience. And it's really weird that the highs roll off so fast, but these get shouty so quickly. But these sound okay. Imaging is bad on these speakers. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. In my notes, it's like, oh, it's okay. Well, no, it's pretty poor. Very sensitive sound. No, it's bad. Magic Man by Heart. I don't even know what was going on, but the little chimes that are throughout the song, specifically, you can hear them at like the 20-second mark and onwards every now and then. It's not in the right spot at all. There's no other way to describe it. It is like straight dead center, even kind of right, which is not. It's not where it is supposed to be. It's supposed to be like high up left, kind of, maybe like central left, depending on how good your amplifier is and the rest of your components in your system. These, it's like dead center, even slight right. Not where it's supposed to be at all. Does not make any sense to me in any way, shape, or form. This is the only speaker that I've heard those chimes be in that spot. So it's not anything else ever. This is, it just doesn't, it's not accurate. The imaging is bad. Pretty much everything just goes straight into the center. That's it. It's not. Let's talk about the mids. Mids are not great. Whenever you listen to live recordings such as like Alice in Chains, MTV Unplugged, you're not going to hear the vibrations from the strings that well, if at all. The bass guitar on Wood on Alice in Chains MTV Unplugged, it's all right. It doesn't sound natural in any way. It actually kind of, okay, I'm going to go from all right to it's poor. It is poor. It sounds more like this is reproducing a note more than it is reproducing a bass string being plucked. And it's sad. It does not fill me with joy to listen to these speakers. It was really detrimental to my well-being in some ways. I think I listened to these for maybe like 2 or 3 hours, and they fatigued my ears so much. They were getting really shouty. They are hard to listen to for long periods of time at higher volumes. Not even really higher volumes, just what I consider my own personal comfortable listening volume. But I mean, some things sounded fine. Like pop sounded good on these. I'm not even gonna try to dig them on that. Dua Lipa's Levitating sounds good. It's fun. It's airy like it should be. It's not like flying and soaring like it should be, but it's good. It's fine. It's all right. Blinding Lights by The Weeknd also sounds all right. Sounds pretty good. Doesn't make it sound as aggressive of a song as it is. It makes it feel a bit more laid back, which is not great because it is a very like hyped up song. The synths should be soaring. They don't really on this. They're just kind of there. Billie Eilish, Bad Guy. The bass is very lacking on these. You will need to pair these with a subwoofer if you're going to listen to anything with any semblance of deeper bass, because these just can't do it. The cabinet isn't built for it. And that port is just pathetic. And it's front facing. So would I recommend these speakers? At $68, no. There are better options. The ELAC 4-inch passive bookshelf speaker, whatever it's called on Amazon. It's the BS41-BKs. Way better. Insanely better. I would even pay $149 MSRP for those speakers over buying these at the $68 sale price that I got them for. At MSRP, no, do not buy these speakers. $99, no, I wouldn't do it. These are okay for background listening. If you're doing any kind of critical or analytical listening, you do not want these. These are not your speaker. And I think the MSRP price reflects that. And the build quality is not great. The quality assurance is hit and miss. I mean, this is my second set of them because the first set was defective. And then I also got the MouKey M20-1s that are also defective. It might be why they're both $68. They probably just list them as new and they're just like repackaged or something, because they both had a lot of cosmetic blemishes and clear defects with them. So overall, MouKey has left a pretty sour taste in my mouth as a brand. I am going to, I guess, keep these speakers. I probably could return them based on the mid-range driver alone not being what's pictured on the website. Mild false advertising, but it is what it is. And they do list them as 110 watt speakers, which they're 55 each. 55 plus 55 is 110, yes, but that's not how speakers should be, or at least bookshelf speakers are usually rated. It's usually individually, not both put together. And let's see, what else? I don't know. I mean, like, there's still like the physical defects of like the little bit of vinyl there. It's kind of overlapping. There's the glue everywhere. It's just not a good looking speaker. If you have the grill on, you would never know. If you never took this bad boy off, you would not know of the possible poor build quality and lack of quality assurance that these speakers have. So yeah, these are like background speakers, or maybe like in your garage, far away from you. Because like from far away, they don't really sound too bad. Like if I just had it in my office and I went go to another room to go do something, actually, not bad. My phone just fell out of my pocket. But having these close to you, I wouldn't do it. I don't even think I'd relegate these to my surrounds, which is what this whole thing was supposed to be all about. I don't think that they'll mesh well with my system. The high end is just very, 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 very lacking. And honestly, I think these could do with a much better build quality, better quality assurance, and maybe a bigger port, or even better crossovers. Because I didn't even talk about double bass. Oh my god, double bass on The Patient by Tool around the 3-minute 35-second mark is atrocious. It's bad. It just completely garbles everything in the song. It's hilarious. Oh my god, they're kind of worth it just to hear that. It's bad. Oh my god, I do not like these speakers. They're not good. I would not recommend them. I would not even say to get these to like put in your kid's room or something. Oh my god, there's a quality control sticker on this. I don't believe it. Quality control passed. I don't believe it. I don't. I seriously don't. I should have checked the other ones that I had that had vinyl just inside of it rattling around. I'm gonna have to check my M20-1s. Wait, actually, I'm gonna go grab those real quick. I already packaged them up. I'm not gonna do it. In short, don't buy these speakers. There's better speakers. The ELAC 4-inch passive bookshelves at $68. Get those instead. If they're MSRP $149, they're selling at that. Whatever. Who cares? Get those instead. They're fun. They're so fun. Sony SSCS 5s, usually on sale for $85 or less. Way better than these. Insanely better. Way better build quality. Way better sound. Better imaging. Better everything. No, this does not beat any speaker that I have listened to currently. Even my Polk TSI 100s that I got for $45 on Facebook Marketplace. Way better than these. I don't buy these. Just don't. They don't sound good. I'm not like really even like an audiophile or anything. I was doing most of my listening off of Spotify. which has low quality tracks. But even when I was listening to high quality tracks, it sounded worse. I'd rather listen to Spotify on these than have a nice, beautiful, high quality bit rate music file go to waste listening through on these. Don't buy these speakers. I wouldn't even relegate these to surround positions. At best, these go into your garage and you forget that they're there and you forget that you bought them because you shouldn't have bought it anyway. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with these. And on that bombshell, I'm your host, Grant, with Tech and Grant, signing off.